Dan Illman here with the DRF race of the day for Christmas Eve 2023. It's race number 6 at Gulfstream Park, the rescheduled H. Allen Jerkens Handicap, going 2 miles on the turf. Let's take a peek at this field. Of course, this race was scheduled earlier in the Gulfstream Park Championship meet. Poor weather forced an abandonment of a race card, and now the H. Allen Jerkens will be run on Christmas Eve. Stamina, stamina, stamina. The key here for these marathoners going 2 miles. The number 1 Value Engineering looks to defend his Jerkens championship. Now, last year he won the Jerkens when the race was contested over the Tapeta surface at 1 5/8 miles. But make no mistake, Value Engineering is also very, very good on turf, having captured the Grade 2 McDermott at Gulfstream Park. He seems like the horse to beat at 9-5 on the morning line. You might not think pace makes the race in a 2-mile event such as the H. Allen Jerkens, but as we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, you see a horse that might be able to make the lead and might be able to make it pretty easily, and that's the number 7, F5, a horse that won gate to wire 2 starts back at Ellis Park, was unable to make the lead in his most recent start. He just might be at his best when he sets or controls the tempo, and I think that's going to be the case. I agree with Timeform US that F5 can make the lead. The question is, will he have the stamina to go 2 miles against some stout turfers? We'll start things off with our defending champion, the number 1 Value Engineering. Again, he won this race last year. He had a very successful campaign during the championship meet in 2023. Not only did he win this race and the McDermott, he then ran second in the Grade 3 W.L. McKnight as well. Now, since then, the waters got deeper. They ran him at Keeneland in a grade stakes race. They ran him in the Grade 1 Man of War. Things didn't work out against tougher competition. He was given a break after that performance, and I think his last race, a race run over the Tapeta surface at Turfway Park, I think it's a race where you want to give him several excuses. It was Value Engineering's first start off of a layoff. It was a race run in glacial time early. The fractions were so slow, and they were controlled by the winner, the favorite, who's a pretty good horse in his own right. I think Value Engineering used that race to gain fitness, and I think he's going to be a lot sharper and ready to go in his second start of the form cycle. He faced a good field in that Turfway race. The runner-up came back to run third in the Prairie Bayou there with a 91 Beyer speed figure. I think Value Engineering is going to improve off of that effort. I don't think that last race is an indication that he's returned in poor form or can't run anymore. I think he gained fitness and the race was not run to suit him. Catch That Party is the number 2. This is a horse who's coming into this race in pretty good form. Here's his most recent effort. Now, this race is all the way back in mid-September during the Belmont at the Big A meet. It's a first-level allowance race for trainer Michael Maker, and Catch That Party got a fast pace to run into, and that's what he likes because he doesn't have a ton of early speed. He's able to win this race. The third-place finisher would come back to run second in a first-level allowance in New York with an 89 Beyer speed figure. This was the first time in a while that Catch That Party was really able to stretch out in distance. Michael Maker, his trainer, excels with horses like this. You see he's very well represented in the H. Allen Jerkens, and Catch That Party just might have found his niche in these longer distance races. He has probably a bit more tactical speed going 2 miles. He'll probably be sitting in the second flight. 6 minus is the number 3 going out for Todd Pletcher, and this horse is going to be taking a pretty hefty step up in class. Remember that he had been running in races as low as $16,000 maiden claimers back in 2022. He has certainly improved in recent starts. He was beaten less than a length in his most recent race. That was a $25,000 starter allowance over the Tapeta in his first start off of the layoff. That was a blanket finish race. You had 5 horses pretty much separated by a length under the line. I usually don't like those sort of races, and now 6 minus is going to step up in class. That being said, he seems to appreciate distance, has run well on turf in the past, and you're going to get a fair price on Super Connections, Pletcher, and Arad Ortiz. The number 4 is Swore, and this horse has a lot of upside potential. He's only run 6 times in his career, and while we've probably seen the best from horses like Value Engineering and Shawty, and some of the other contenders in this race, it's possible we haven't seen the best from Swore, who's also well connected, being trained by Graham Motion. His most recent start was in October during the Belmont at the Big A meet, and I thought he ran okay that day. He finished 4th, but the winner of that race is a very nice horse who would come back to run second in the Hollywood Turf Cup a Grade 2 event with a 96 Beyer speed figure. Swore might have been too tough in that first level allowance race. His start prior was a good-looking victory at Kentucky Downs going a distance of ground, and Swore just looks like the kind of horse that seems versatile from a pace standpoint. Yes, he has to step up and face multiple winners. He's still eligible for a Now Winners of 2 Life. But if you're looking for a horse with upside, maybe Swore is your cup of tea. McLovin is the number 5. This horse going back to the Arnaud de la Cour barn. He won his most recent start at the Far Hills meet in New Jersey going 2 miles. That was the John Forbes Memorial, where he showed a lot more tactical speed. Now, the quality of competition in the Forbes lesser than the horses he's going to face in the H. Allen Jerkens. The runner-up who's counting is a nice sort of Maryland-sired allowance runner. You had a couple of horses in that race that are steeplechase performers, but the third place finisher ran second in a couple of legs of the Canadian Triple Crown back in 2021, so he wasn't just facing a bunch of hopeless dregs. McLovin is a horse that has also run very well on turf in the past and really wants a distance of ground. He was third in a stakes race at Colonial Downs 2 starts back, and he's the kind of horse that might be a little bit more tactical than some of the true one-run closers in this race. Joel Rosario picks up the mount on McLovin, who might actually go off a pretty decent price. Folks don't see a Beyer speed figure in that last race, and they might automatically assume it's no good. The 6 is Shawty, who is now under the tutelage of Michael Maker. This will be his second start for Maker, and his first start since October, where he just didn't factor in the Grade 3 Sycamore. I have to admit, I've always been a fan of Shawty when he was trained by Jorge Abreu earlier in his career. He started off his career as a 2-year-old like a pretty nice horse, sort of lost his way, and then he came back into form with a couple of wins back in 2022. Since then, however, they've stepped him up in class, and he just hasn't shown at this point that he's a true graded stakes horse. 4 tries at this level, sent off at double-digit odds in many of those races, and in many of those races, you know what you get from Shawty. No early speed whatsoever. He'll be last early, and then he'll make a run and just not threaten in these graded stakes. That being said, Maker seems to get the best out of these kind of horses. He's been freshened up. It's an interesting spot to bring him back in off of the long layoff, and I do think he'll be running at the end at a pretty decent price. F5 is the number 7. Timeform US believes that he'll control the pace, and I completely agree. He's another horse with a lot of upside, having only run 6 times in his career. A gate-to-wire winner 2 starts back. He failed to make the lead last time out in the Grade 3 River City, going 1 mile and an eighth at Churchill Downs. He sat a pretty good trip in the pocket, but that pace was really fast, and if you go back and you watch the race and you take a look at the chart of that race, closers dominated. If you were even relatively close to the pace, you just weren't there at the end. I think those fractions were that enervating, and F5 plummeted to the back of the pack. I'm willing to give him a mulligan because I liked some of his prior races, and he might have a much easier trip up front for trainer Brian Lynch. One of the also-rans from the River City came back, placed in a stakes race at Turfway Park with a 99 Beyer speed figure. Serifos is the number 8. It's very interesting that Graham Motion continues to run this horse on the turf. When you look at his record, all of his wins have come on wet dirt. He likes it when it's washed off. He has no experience on Tapeta, so if it's washed off once again on Saturday, he'll have to run on an all-weather surface. I think Graham runs this horse on the turf because he is a true stayer. He doesn't have a strong burst of speed or turn of foot, but he will stay on in solid fashion. They tried him on dirt going long on a fast dirt at Santa Anita, and he just was no match for some of the better longer distance dirt marathoners. I just didn't like his race 2 starts back, the Japan Turf Cup at Laurel, where they ran him 1.5 miles, and he never really made a dent. The 3rd place finisher from that race was in very sharp form. He came back to win 2 dirt races in Kentucky with Beyers of 91 and 93 respectively, but I think Serifo still has a lot to prove on turf going a distance of ground. Before we get to my top selection, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for the Christmas Eve race of the day, the H. Allen Jerkens, and You have to respect the favorite in here, the number 1, Value Engineering. He is the horse to beat, but I'm going to try to look and key in on 2 price horses. Shorty got the nod simply because he's going to be a better price than the 7 F5, but I want to concentrate my play on both of those horses. Shorty from the back of the field, now with Maker off the layoff. I'm expecting this horse to run a little bit better, and F5 simply because I think he has upside and he's going to control the pace up front instead of rating from off of it. So I'm going to try to beat the favorite with the 6 and the 7 in the Sunday race of the day, the 8 Challenge Jerkens. Good luck.